We are live again.
We are live.
Also, I'd like to take this chance to offer a plug. If anybody is interested in buying socks or clothes that I've worn to conventions, just send me an email, and you're welcome to purchase those. They're used socks. They will smell terrible, but they're available if
you can charge extra for that in certain circles.
All right, and on that note, welcome to the weekly poll. This time sponsored to you by Comics Explained Socks. When you buy too many socks at a convention and you don't know what to do with them, you just send an order specifically to Comics Explained to get his used socks. Don't worry, they are discounted. And we are also brought to you by Aunt May's Pies. She makes amazing pies. Make sure you order them online if you're ever looking for an amazing apple pie.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you buy 5 or more pairs of my socks, I will autograph them.
All right, and on that note, guys, welcome back to the weekly poll for the second episode of today. This is the official Batman v Superman spoiler cast. We're going to give you about 5-10 minutes of our non-spoiler opinions of the movie. We will give you an out. You can leave, and then spoilers will dribble. Oh, they will be moist in the air. Moist spoilers.
You can tap out at the end.
That's a very interesting way to describe spoilers.
Yeah, I think I'll tap out now. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, today I, as usual, your hosts for the evening are... actually, first off, if you're joining us on the sound version, you can find us live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, sometimes a little early, sometimes a little late, depends on what we're doing. Like today, we went a little bit late. But you can also find the weekly poll on iTunes, SoundCloud, and video on demand here on Twitch, post afterwards the entire podcast. And I am your one of hosts, Benny the Comic Storian. You can find me on YouTube at Comic Storian. Joining me on the ComicPOP panel is Tiffany from ComicPOP. She does amazing, better work than Sal.
It's true.
Whoa. Wow.
Joining me on the Comics Explained panel is Rob from Comics Explained. He's a one-man show, so you kind of know who he is. Then we have Joel from Kate Joel fame. Kate Joel.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
And on the last panel, we have Sammy Reeds, our official, unofficial... I got nothing. I already used that for Joel.
Dang it. Why does this always happen to me?
You do not have a title. Okay. Our official, unofficial girl in a hat, but we have another girl in a hat today. So it's kind of just...
Our cup runneth over.
Wait. Two girls, 2 hats, 1 cup?
A dumb chick. Hey, if you label that right, this might be the most popular episode we've ever done.
2 girls, 2 hats. People will click on this to be like, what's 2 girls, 2 hats? I have to know what this is.
Man, the weekly poll got really clickbaity at a point.
Yes, it did. Just throwing out incredibly weird things. So, in this
2 girls, 2 hats. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so spoiler-free thoughts. What's everybody's stance on Batman versus Superman? I thought it was decent. I've seen better.
I mean, I stand by that statement. I'm a huge fan of half the movie. Without spoiling, and we'll go into this later, I feel like the first half of the movie was 5 movies slammed together and then thrown in a blender and then put on a pancake skillet and then put back together, and then they gave the editing job to a YouTube editor.
It's a slog. Somewhere along the way, Zack Snyder forgot what an establishing shot was.
Yeah,
which is really unfortunate. There's the much touted dream sequences, which, hey, y'all remember that bit from Ultron where Thor goes into the magic cave for no other reason than to set up sequels, and it was really distracting and really annoying. Imagine if they did that like 5 times throughout the movie, and then to top it off, Batman doesn't even mention it to anyone. Hey man, I've been having these weird dreams, or maybe they're vicious.
Stop! No, not spoilers. You're not going into what they are.
No, that was it. I was just saying I've been having these weird dreams.
No, stop! We know it's in the trailer, but
shame
people like fans don't watch
you.
them. See,
Joel does not know. Joel does not know what spoilers are.
Turn your chair around. We will tell you when you can rejoin the conversation. You have been timed out for spoilers.
Make it where the gun side too.
Do it, Joel. Turn around. Turn around.
No, this is gonna go all Blair Witch on us. He's in the corner. No.
I can't believe Joel actually turned around. I would be like, no, Benny, you turn around.
Timmy, what did you think?
All right.
I mean, as a general thought, like, I liked it. I mean, there were certain elements that I really liked, then there were other elements that I really didn't. But on a whole, I liked it. I'm very hesitant to say it that way, but yeah, I liked it.
I felt like it was a lot to look at, and it was the most comic booky movie that DC has made.
Agreed. Yes. I can agree there.
But I definitely agree with the feeling of it being a whole bunch of things. It's like, you ever seen Chopped, that food show where they get a basket and they got to make something out of it?
Yeah.
It's like they got a chopped basket of scripts and they made a movie.
I honestly feel like because obviously they're claiming that the 3-hour version is going to answer a lot of our questions and give us a better flow, which I don't fully believe. I think that's just a way to drum up sales for the Blu-ray.
For real.
But if that were the case with what they chopped out, I felt like they could have gone all the way down to an hour and a half and just really focused on the fights themselves and really just removed a lot of the setup that they were trying to go for.
It weirdly feels too long, and it also feels like they put deleted scenes back in to pad the runtime and to the fight. Like, there's just all these side plots where it's like, none of this is Batman fighting Superman. You sold me on Batman fighting Superman.
And for the record, without going too far into it, did anyone else feel like we got more Bruce Wayne than Batman? And for the first time ever, I was like, just put the stupid suit on.
We sure did. We sure did.
Yeah. I kind of liked that, though. I liked how they showed Bruce Wayne being Batman without being Batman at the beginning. I kind of liked it.
He's definitely the Batman who marries the most detective work, the most, gadgetry, the most fighting. He's definitely a very well-rounded Batman, but he also does some other stuff that makes you go, he also drinks and womanizes because he wants to, and not as like some sort of like mask for his vigilante stuff, which is interesting, but the movie never really delved into that. They also kind of implied that he was a pill popper too, assumedly pain pills if you looked at his table.
Turn around, go back to the corner.
You're spoiling it, Joel.
Joel, twice again? Oh my gosh.
How is that a spoiler? That's
You're discussing elements of the movie. That's what essentially a spoiler is. I could be like, I'm not going to do it here. I was going to prove you wrong, and then I was going to join you in the corner.
And Superman is Batman's father. How weird is that?
Oh my God. Turn around. We'll call you back in at the spoiler segment.
Okay, fine. I'll shut up.
Joel has been banned from talking until we go to spoilers.
Ooh.
Wow.
Man,
Which by the way, guys, so spoiler discussion.
We're just going to roll into it just right now?
We just roll into it right now. Joel, you're still
okay.
banned.
I think overall, we'll go ahead and do that. But I think overall, we can all, my overall opinion, see it if you got a chance. Don't be lying out there. You're not going to miss anything. It'll be on Blu-ray real soon.
Absolutely.
Because they upped the Blu-ray release date to July.
They sure
Wow.
did.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Yes,
mean,
they
what do you guys like? An individual sign-off, Tiffany.
I think that, honestly, if you go into this not expecting a comic book in any way, shape, or form, you might have an okay time.
Also, if you hated Man of Steel, you're going to hate this too.
Oh, yeah.
True.
That's
a good point.
Yeah. But you know what? If you do want to, if you want to see a lot of big visuals and hear the sound the way you're supposed to hear it, then you should go see it in the theater.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying not to sound like Joel.
It's hard, right? It's hard.
If you're more action driven than story driven, the second half of this movie you will dig.
Yeah. True.
So I think Rob just recommended you theater hop. Like, go see another movie.
Yeah.
And then about at the halfway point, slip on in.
Go check out Zootopia or Cloverfield Lane and hop.
Zootopia's great. You guys want to talk about Zootopia for the next
Oh,
hour?
totally.
It's so awesome. It's about race issues in America, and there's a cute bunny cop. What's not to love?
All right. So on that note, Sammy, since you didn't get, did you have any final thoughts on the non-spoiler?
I mean, I think on the non-spoiler review, I think I've kind of come to terms with I don't want to be responsible of the responses people might have if I recommend the movie, because there's been such extreme reactions.
People are treating it like a holy war.
Yeah, I don't want to give my seal of approval or recommend somebody see it, but just because they might, like what Tiffany said, you might be expecting something totally different. So,
man, spoken like a true politician, if there ever was one.
Thank you.
My wife was crazy excited about this movie, and it was 45 minutes in that she leaned over and she said, "Why am I bored in Batman v Superman?" And my response was, "I kind of am too. Like, I hope something happens." So
yeah. Okay, so
well, we gotta give them the out. We gotta give them 30 seconds, right?
30 seconds.
For 30 seconds, everyone has to go quiet and just wait.
All right, hold on a second. Let me set my stopwatch. You got a timer on? Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing a stopwatch. I'm gonna put it up on my screen. All right. So here it is.
And
ready?
now we play the waiting game.
You have 30 seconds to leave, and then Joel will just go.
Do you want us to do something special during this time? Like, are we?
Everyone dance.
Okay, so when we were in Disneyland, I got on the Hollywood Tower of Terror, and Dude, it was the most horrifying ride that I've ever been on.
It was,
and I screamed like a little girl because,
awesome.
dude, there was a point where we got all the way up to the top and the doors opened and I could see all the way over through Disneyland, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I just
Rob,
started.
what did you think about the Splash Mountain?
Splash Mountain was awesome, but I have a cold
Hey,
now.
go,
because of it.
Joel!
Man, so you think Superman may have learned his lesson about killing people in the last movie? The first thing he does when we see him is punch an African warlord through several walls.
I know.
Yeah.
And
he
then like
dies.
a hypocrite.
He dies
and
at
then
the
like
end, though.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I know, right?
It's
And then like a hypocrite.
We're like a no holds bar. Let's just do it.
Oh yeah,
then-
no.
And then as a total hypocrite, Clark Kent's like, I think the Bat Vigilante of Gotham is far too dangerous and far too... But you punched a warlord through several walls. What are you talking about?
Maybe this is deeper than we think. I know it's not. And
honestly, I didn't see the need for
Clark
that.
is projecting. He's projecting
Literally.
guilt.
No, see, what I really don't. Okay, they use that opening scene of killing the warlord as the setup for why do we need a god? Like, can't we handle things ourselves? Is it too much? That kind of a thing. And I honestly don't feel like we even needed that scene because we recapped the entire destruction of Metropolis from Bruce Wayne's eyes, which was incredible. Seeing it from
Yeah, that was
street
a
level.
great scene.
And
He
like,
was actually
that's
being a
good
hero.
enough.
He was actually helping people. He did everything in that 5 minutes that I wanted to see Superman do. So I'm like,
they also did show that in the commercials as well, which was probably my biggest complaint of the whole movie was all of my favorite scenes they showed in the trailers.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
the trailer was
Benny,
epic.
I thought
It
that
was.
the opening scene wasn't to show that why we need a god. I thought it was to show why God can't have a favorite and how it clouds his judgment.
Wow.
I could see that because that was one thing that I specifically like the way they portrayed that. A lot of things our characters that we're used to them thinking about and not acting on are completely thrown out the window. Like when Superman saves Lois, he's not blatantly obvious. Like I've saved the reporter. Oh, she's falling. I've saved the reporter.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he can find Lois whenever she's in danger, be it Africa, be when she's thrown off a roof. But when his mom is in danger, oh no, somehow I missed that.
She wasn't knocking on the thing though. She
Yeah,
had
clearly.
knocked. That would have helped.
Well, no, not even that. There's a scene where Lex Luthor just like throws her off, and Superman's like, "I'm here." There's no indication that he knows that she's falling. Like I don't even think she screams. I think he's just there. And I'm like, what was Superman
She
doing?
has the Superman watch, and we missed that scene.
I guess. See, here's a problem that I had with this movie, man. Like what Zack Snyder tried to do here was build up Batman and try to create a movie at the same time. And the problem is Batman. There are elements of Batman that everybody knows.
I'll take it one degree further than that. They were trying to build up Batman while giving us Man of Steel 2, which is what this was supposed to be originally.
Yep.
See, here's the problem. There are aspects of Batman. Like we know Batman's parents got killed. That's why Bruce Wayne became Batman. We know all those things. We don't need to rehash the death of Batman. And can I just say, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Bruce Wayne was awesome, but it was the biggest waste of one of my favorite actors that I've ever seen. What a waste!
Did you also notice?
Have him in there.
Did you also notice this movie is so aggro? Even Thomas Wayne, when he's about to get charged, like, oh, I'm gonna punch this mugger in the face.
Yeah, he went to grab the guy. I mean, that's fine. I don't care about that.
Contrast and compare to Batman Beyond, where he's like, no, you don't have to do this. I am a good doctor, man.
Well, the issue that I had with this is that by the time it gets around to Batman fighting Superman, I feel like Zack Snyder was just relying on our overall knowledge of Batman, and it's like, look, build up the character because not every Batman is the same that's ever appeared in every movie. There are core elements of his character that are the same. He's totally different from Christian Bale's Batman. Like he's darker, he's broodier. He doesn't talk as much. He really
drinks,
kind of
he sexes.
Yeah, I mean he's just kind of a jerk, and I would like to have seen an exploration on that Batman so we understand why Batman doesn't like Superman. All we're told is that he doesn't like him because Superman's just too powerful. That's it. That's all we're told. And
if there's even 1% that he could be bad, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Because I'll be honest, like Bruce Wayne comes off like he's just jelly because he can't fly. That's how his character comes off in the movie, and it's like that sucks because I know what Snyder was going for. I know he was trying to make a more in-depth version of Bruce Wayne. I know he was trying to give him more character, but he failed on a colossal scale because he was literally trying to do too many things at once. That's what drove me nuts about that whole Batman.
Plus the wholesale murder and gun use.
Yeah. Batman using guns in the dream. I'm like, okay. It was a dream.
That's fine.
And then, later on, he's like, he's using it, but he's not shooting.
Technically, the other guy's hand was on it when I blew up the other dude's flamethrower tank.
No, did you take it that Batman had actually been fighting crime for 20 years and then
Insane.
had gone away and come back because the news was like, oh, it's the Bat
Vigilante.
And I'm like, wait, which is it?
No, I 100% think he was supposed to have been gone. Like, I think that's in the original cut, and he was returning because of the whole Superman thing. Because this is my biggest question in the movie. And the whole catalyst of the whole thing is Clark thinks the Bat Vigilante is too aggressive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is he now thinking that? Because this movie is like 18 months after the fall of Metropolis, plus the entire first movie, which means, has he just been like chilling out, just hanging out, like, oh, right, there's a bad guy over there, you know? Like,
he's been doing stuff like writing stories, cleaning his home.
I'm glad you mentioned this. I'm glad you mentioned the stories there, Tiff, because it's so hilarious. Clark Kent, as a journalist, is like, why, Perry? Why won't you print my Batman story? Because it's not Gotham, you idiot. This is Metropolis.
Exactly.
Oh, we lost Sammy.
Yeah, we lost Sammy.
Write a story about things that happen here, you juggernaut. Seriously.
Yeah.
And we got
it was awesome. That was one of the, that was a
I guess I
issue
just
that
hated it so much. Like, I just had to get out.
Sammy, we need your camera back. You're messing up everyone's positioning. Everyone's in weird spots. Everyone's in weird spots.
Panic. Just panic, everyone.
Tim's the only one in the center now. Everyone else is in weird spots. Half of Joel's face isn't here anymore.
Congratulations, Tiff. You've become the center of the weekly poll.
But yeah, like that. See, to me, that was the weird thing. Is even in the Dark Knight Returns, even in the graphic novel, they were like, "Oh yeah, Batman. Like we remember him, but now he's back. Like why is he back?" You know, like the chronology doesn't make any sense because what Zack Snyder's basically telling us is that Batman fought crime for a while. Superman is relatively new, apparently, because the battle between Superman and Zod happened 18 months ago, which, given the timeline, that entire movie of the Man of Steel happened over the course of like a week or so, which means Superman's only shown up in the last 2 years. So the chronology doesn't make any sense. But on top of that, what was Bruce Wayne doing? Because he talks about, you know, you got the Robin suit that's got the ha-ha-ha and all that kind of stuff.
Supposedly. Did he dream that or didn't he? Because it's a blink and you miss it moment. So now I don't even know.
Yeah. We need to, because that's the supposedly thing too. The dreams. Like, did anyone else feel like we were in Inception half the time? Because you didn't know which one was a dream and not?
Exactly. That's the problem that I had, is there was no indication what was real and what wasn't. Suddenly Batman just wakes up and there's just a giant, dark side symbol.
Maybe they can retcon that later. They can decide.
Can I just say, when the Omega symbol showed up and we saw what seemingly was parademons, and then we went back to the regular movie, I was like, I kind of just want to go and watch that movie.
Mad Max Batman looks like a better movie.
Oh, yeah,
I said the same thing. I was like, "Hey, Mad Max!" It literally was Mad Max.
Yeah, I was watching that and I was like, "Holy shit, that Batman's awesome!"
Yeah.
Well, my question is, why was that Batman wearing the cowl at that point? Like, I feel like at this point it doesn't matter if you're hiding your identity.
It's a symbol. He's,
Hey, when Batman has shirtless sword fights with Ra's al Ghul, he keeps the cowl on.
Well,
that's for comfort. He feels that just makes him feel better.
I'm not totally naked.
That was the whole problem. Is like in that sequence, Superman's like, "You took her from me." Okay, in some form or fashion, Lois Lane died. He blames Batman. What happened? Did Batman not tell Superman that Lois Lane was kidnapped? Was this Lois Lane's super sense not tingling? What was going on that Lois Lane died? Because they established in that movie that anytime Lois Lane's in danger, Superman's immediately there. So what happened? And then apparently Superman's working for Darkseid, but that's never really explained. And so it's like, okay, like what's and then the Flash shows up, like you got to save Lois. She's the key to everything. And it's like, Zack Snyder, what in the hell is going on with you?
Flash shows up at some point. And it's like, is this the future that will happen or the future that could happen if this fight continues the way that it's whatever?
Even as a setup for a future movie, I feel like that scene just ran on too long. Like, it should have been Flash shows up and he's like, "Hey, you gotta do this, da-da-da-da. Oh, I'm too early. See you later." And he leaves. Instead, we have like a minute and a half of Bruce just being like, "What is going on?"
And you just know that was a late addition. That was like the studio producers, that was the bigwigs going, "No, you need to set up for future sequels. Now, I don't care what you got to do to this movie, but Batman's got to have crazy dream sequences now."
Well, see, somebody in the chat said like they're setting up for Injustice. You know what would be a good setup to Injustice? Like, pick up in the middle of that shit. Like, Superman is like literally jump to the scene of like start the movie off with that opening scene where Batman is all Mad Max, and then just literally do a flashback and let the rest of the movie just pick up with how things get to that point. That would interest the hell out of me. Because then you just have a little thing that comes on, like 20 years ago. Why, man, a friend of mine keeps messaging me on Facebook. But you have like a thing that comes up. You have a thing that comes up, and it says like 15 years ago, and then suddenly we're back with it, and then you just start setting the seeds. But the overall issue here that I think that this movie had, and it was so easily correctable, is that Batman should not have been in this movie. It should not have been titled Batman versus Superman. I'm with Benny on this.
People have been willing to pay for it after Man of Steel.
Yeah,
would they be willing to pay for a Man
that.
of Steel sequel? I don't know, man.
No. Let me tell you something. If they had had a scene where it was called The Man of Steel 2, and they teased Batman in that movie, people are buying tickets. I don't care if Batman's
I think Batman was their ace in the hole. I think Batman was their security blanket, and then Wonder Woman was an extra security blanket, where it's like, oh God, I'm scared her now.
Let's talk about Wonder Woman.
Hold on though, because I want to touch on a note you just said about the injustice. I don't know if anybody's tracking this. I didn't think about this, but they might legitimately be setting up an injustice style section, because if you pre-order the movie right now, it comes with Injustice: Gods Among Us Volume 1.
Huh.
That's really? It doesn't come with Dark Knight Returns. It comes with Injustice.
Weird.
So,
wow.
Maybe.
This does feel more like the Injustice universe. It does feel more in line with.
Yeah.
Well, if they were going to set up for Injustice, there were better ways of doing that. I'd say. I mean, here would be my pitch. All right. You have that opening scene where you have Mad Max Batman, and he's fighting Superman, and people are just kind of like, okay, what in the world's going on here? And then he says, like, you cost me, Lois. Let's say they flip the tables a little bit. Instead of it being like the Joker who poisoned Superman, that it turned out that it was Batman who was fighting the Joker and sprayed the Joker with some kind of toxin, and Superman, not realizing what was going on, flew into it, hallucinated, and killed Lois Lane. You could do a lot of different things that you could make it make sense. But there were Injustice 1 would be a ballin' ass movie series, and I would watch that. How many people in the chat would watch an Injustice movie?
I'd be more
excited. I'd be more excited for
I would
that
watch a
Suicide
movie.
Squad.
Why would you not want, dude? I would watch Injustice. Hell, I would watch Injustice.
And for the record, on the dream sequences, I didn't like how they were stacking them up. I feel like a better use of that Flash cameo would have been when Superman slams Batman into a wall. Flash runs in front of him, does that whole thing, and then like comes out of it like was I unconscious? Was that real? As Superman walks in front of him, like, oh, Superman, and then you're like,
interesting.
Well, what was that? And that I think I can make a better movie.
Yeah. Well, there were much better ways of having. I mean, you didn't even have to have that Flash scene. You could have literally just had. Dude, that grocery store scene was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
You see, I don't think we watched the same scene because all I could see was Barry Allen's shitty man bun is all I could see, and then I got mad. I'm like, the Flash has a man bun.
But it was still cool, and like it was much better handled than the Aquaman scene, which I was like,
oh God, yes.
That's such an insult. Like
he was a L'Oreal ad.
He's clearly holding his breath. Jason Momoa is holding his breath. Everybody, he's coming out really slow. Get off my lawn.
I mean, at least the cyborg scene, I was like, wow, that was kind of gritty, and it's kind of cool, and it actually sort of establishes the character like in that 30 seconds. And then you see that Aquaman scene, and you're like, really? You looked at both of the other scenes, and you're like, this stacks up against those.
Also, mother box out of nowhere. A mother box out of nowhere that looks like the Cosmic Cube from Transformers.
Oh yeah, I loved how they did that. Like, there's a scene with Cyborg suddenly mother box, and it's like, okay, that's
Cyborg.
Obviously a mother box. Half a boy, yeah. Which, by the way, that was a dark scene with Cyborg.
Yes,
I was like, holy cow, that's dark.
Hey kids, do you love Cyborg from the cartoons?
One thing that I wonder about all that stuff though is, first off, how come Lex color-coded the folders, gave them all logos? Does he have a whole team giving out logos?
Graphic design team.
It's Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, it's Amazing Spider-Man 2 when we thought all the villains were going to come from Oscorp. Now all the heroes are coming from LexCorp. He's got the copyrights on them so he can sell merchandise after they've beaten him up.
That's
I would like to see that scene where like Lex is just walking through and he was like, if you found out there was a person that could move faster than the speed of light, what would their symbol be? And they're like, I don't know, like a lightning bolt. Give me that. And like, that's
make that happen.
Make that happen.
I know we kind of already talked about this. I just want to really quickly go back and talk about Superman's or Clark Kent's idea of the Bat Vigilante. Is Clark Kent not a reporter? Would he not have researched everything that Batman has been dealing with. Like, I don't understand. He doesn't address that even.
He was a
remotely.
gopher.
No, he sees one article in which he's branded someone, and he's like, I have to put an end to this. Forget war and world hunger and all this other stuff. I need to stop that bat guy.
Let's keep this in mind. He was a gopher 18 months ago at the end of Man of Steel. So clearly he is on the ass end of the journalistic pyramid at the Daily.
Like, if this is what he wanted to do, if he's like, I'm going to be a journalist, I'm going to be involved, like, as a good journalist, isn't the first rule to get as much information, as many facts as possible?
The problem with Superman, Superman's also super, like, you're either good or you're bad, and I think that's what he just kind of took it. Superman, anyway, is at least like that.
Yeah, we're losing Sammy.
Yeah, but he is super black or white, and, like, I was really hoping.
Frame, too.
Oh yeah.
She's just like that.
You were like.
I don't know what's going on. If it's my internet or Skype, I have no idea what the heck.
You're
my heart goes
dealing
out.
with Joel like an hour ago.
Yeah, Joel.
My heart goes out. I know you're
passed it on.
Joel passed an internet virus on this way.
No, like that. See, that to me was something that kind of kicked me too. Is like they're in the movie. Batman's like we have our own history of villains running around dressed as clowns, whatever it is. Okay, Joker reference. Given like the Robin suit, okay, death in the family probably happened. Joker killed like Robin. No mention of that anywhere. Superman, Superman's just like, well, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe the Joker killed his sidekick, and maybe Batman's really dark and brooding, but you know what? Like, he's branding people, and by God, we can't allow that kind of thing to happen.
I gotta at least talk to him. Like, we gotta have a conversation.
I mean, it was to me, it felt like it really felt like skimming a story.
Oh God, yeah. There's so much shit that happens in between we never hear. The 20-year blank, the 18-month blank where Lois and Clark are living together now and they love each other.
Nowhere, like, not only are they living together, they're like really together. Like they're like they might be married and we don't know about it. Like they went to Vegas and eloped, kind of a situation.
Yeah, like it's to the point now where like Lois Lane is comfortable farting in front of Superman. Like their relationship is at that level. Like it's at that level. That level. Right
I mean, he walked in on her in the bathtub, like cleaning up, and she's just like,
"Is
what's up?
Sammy?
How you doing?"
Is Sammy gone? Because she's just staring.
Yeah, I think so.
She didn't like your fart joke.
She's giving me the stink eye.
I didn't either, but can we also mention the fact that apparently Lex Luthor has a greater team of detectives than Batman?
Yeah, because he figured out everything apparently.
Oh my God! Yeah, Batman's the most inept detective ever.
And locked up again.
Like,
wow.
I know it's just that Superman and Batman and Clark and Bruce in this world are just completely different than what we've seen in the comics. But like some of these things are just really like they're attached to the character. They're the heart and soul of the character, and you just ripped it out. And I'm not. You can't get it back.
No,
like,
you can't.
The problem is that they're wildly inept at their jobs. Oh, hey, we've got a guy from another planet who showed up here and fought a battle where there were these giant machines that were tearing up cities, and it literally obliterated most of like Metropolis and destroyed.
No one has thought.
No
one has thought to pick up these ships in the Indian Ocean. People are just salvaging important alien technology.
Not only that, like at no point did Batman sit down and say, with the arrival of Superman, I got to ask the question: what if there are others like us?
Right?
No one stopped to answer that. Like, no one stopped to ask that question. There's literally a dude in the ocean. There's a guy that moves faster than the speed of light. I guarantee there was a news article out there somewhere, even if it was in, like, some tabloid magazine. Person claims to have seen guy moving faster than the speed of light.
Right?
And in the world of Superman, I'd believe it.
It's a 100-year-old Amazon.
Have like a search algorithm constantly going to pick up stories like that so he could come back home after, patrolling the city or having a night out.
But it wasn't until he found a picture of Wonder Woman in 1918 that he was like, well, who are you? He's like, well, I mean, okay, Batman, you're the worst detective in the history of the world.
Can we talk about that photo, too? That's clearly just production artwork for the Wonder Woman movie. So Diana Prince's whole motivation is, I need to get back that piece of production artwork that he stole from me. Yeah,
which, by the way, like, I was so disappointed in how they depicted Wonder Woman. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited to see a Wonder Woman character, but she was literally Catwoman in this movie with like Superman's powers, like flight and strength. And I was like, give this chick some character, give her some development, give me a reason to care, and they didn't do any of that.
You gotta love in a movie where they felt they needed to retell the death of the Waynes. They drop Wonder Woman into that final fight and never explain her powers to the audience.
No.
No.
Which
You
was
want to talk about that final fight? How about the ability that Lois knows the spear is going to kill Superman, even though that hasn't been revealed? She throws it in the pit, and 2 seconds later, she's like, "Oh shit!"
Her big character moment is undoing a mistake she made, then needing to get saved anyway on top of it.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Benny. That completely pulled me right out of that. I was like, I'm sorry, did she hear something? Did someone super whisper at her? What?
I'll give her the credit that she made the connection of seeing Doomsday with the I-beams, and it must have been Kryptonian. So I'll give her the credit of going back for it. But how did she even know it was important enough to throw away anyway, to begin with?
Totally.
Yeah, like literally a staff with kryptonite. You're going to throw it in the water? You're just going to throw it into a lake?
This isn't
Oh, no, she
Superman
doesn't. That's right. She
1978,
doesn't.
Where he revealed his weakness, origin, and where he's from in an interview.
Yeah.
In the first 2 minutes.
That's right. Well, no. See, what you're missing, Benny, is that this movie ties into Superman Returns.
That's the big thing.
So Lois Lane has all that stuff.
And how come, okay, you got Superman. He knows the kryptonite's not okay for him to have, right?
But he picks it up anyway.
I was gonna say, there's a chick out there with a sword and a shield, like kicking ass. Give her the spear.
Oh yeah,
For real.
those of you guys who are stuck around, obviously we're well past spoilers. It ends with the death of Superman, and I think everyone is what Tiffany's going for here is that was the most avoidable death in the entire movie.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Oh, it was so pointless.
Okay, fine. You don't want to give it to the chick because you don't know who she is. You got Batman right there. Somebody could have speared Doomsday for everybody.
Anyone could have.
It's totally the final insult to Superman in a movie that's supposed to be all about, oh, can we trust him? Can we trust this man who's basically the personification of drone warfare? And Nancy Grace gets to say something, and Tucker Carlson gets to say something about it. You know who doesn't get to talk about the Superman issue? Superman. That's such a dick move that they don't let Superman fight for his right to exist.
Yeah, he shows up at the trial, and then it gets blown up. Which, by the way, what a stupid thing. Well, we got to make Superman look bad, so we're going to have him go to a trial, and then we're going to have some dude in a wheelchair who, for whatever reason, like reasons that we don't know, just like decides to allow a bomb to be planted into a wheelchair that was given to him by one of the most notorious criminals in the history of the world.
Also
and then it turns out to be a bomb and blows up. Yeah, it was. I don't know what. Like, I don't know what.
What annoyed me about that was it was like, okay, cool, we're finally getting to some plot. We're finally going to start exploring the idea of Superman. He's going to defend himself, why he feels...
He's going to give an impassioned speech.
It's like Zack Snyder was like, plot? Blow it up!
And he got scared. He was like, is that plot over there? Kill it. Kill that plot.
Also, can we talk about the piss jar for a second? That a jar of Lex Luthor's piss is a huge focal point of a major scene. They get quiet, they stop talking, and they linger on the piss jar for like a minute.
Well, not only that, but this woman who's a senator, who obviously has been heckled, interrupted, she knows how to keep her composure, can't get a sentence out without looking at something that says T.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but you, like, at the point she's at in her career, I'm pretty sure if she was looking at, even if it looked like piss, even if you want to say it's piss, would be like, oh, okay, it's just, I'm not going to drink that.
Or you ask one of the aides, like, could you remove this, please? This isn't mine. Could you just,
I don't know what this came from.
Yeah.
I can't believe someone wrote that.
By seeing it, why did she make the connection that something really bad was going to happen?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, because that,
like
to me,
blown up.
That jar being there, to me, is more or less just like a little, like, yeah, you know what? Eat it. Like, I'm just giving you a hard time. But, like, she's making connections, and I'm like, she's a better detective than Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah.
You want to talk about bad Bruce Wayne detective work? I need to find the white Portuguese. I know these Russians operate at the docks, but I never did a Google search to see if the white Portuguese was the name of a ship.
Yeah.
It only became important when I needed it.
I gotta say, though, Jeremy Irons, awesome.
Yeah.
Like, Alfred was amazing. Like, Alfred was, like, exactly what I would have wanted Alfred to be, and I could have used a lot more of that.
That being said, he literally phones in a good number of his performances, quite literally, because Batman is out and Alfred is phoning it. Oh, I'll assume drone mode, Master Wayne, and I'll shoot some fools.
For all we know, they could have had Jim Cummings come in like they did in The Lion King to take over.
I love Jim Cummings.
But like
that movie had so many problems.
Yeah,
it did, but there was like a lot of cool visuals, like seeing Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman like standing together. That was cool. Like that's a cool moment.
Because Snyder is a visual director.
This is, and Rob will vouch for this. Before we even saw it, as big of a DC fan as I am, I said this. I have a feeling we are not going to walk out of this movie crazy excited. We're going to walk out of this movie being like, the world is set up. What's going to happen next? That's what I say.
Yeah.
And
that.
that is my question. I got the world set up. Cool. We rushed the whole thing out. But whatever.
Yep.
If anybody can pull it off, DC can, simply because you know who these heroes are. Part of the reason Marvel had to do so much building is because you didn't know who Iron Man was. No one knew who Captain America was. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, Benny, because I was giving that some thought. I know some people were saying, like, oh, this movie is better because it has so much more iconic characters, not flavor of the month heroes like Ant-Man. To which I say, you know what? There hasn't been 5 previous Ant-Mans before this, so audiences didn't have anything to compare it with. We've seen Batman and Superman before, which is why I think Wonder Woman gets the biggest pop out of any theater I've seen it, because she's new, she's different, we haven't seen her before.
Well, it's not only that. I feel like this show, the movie in general, would we all know Warner Brothers decided not to go individual movies simply because they wanted to get to Justice League. They wanted to start.
We want Avengers money now.
Right, that's what they wanted, and we get it. We know that, but I just feel like, if anybody could pull it off, it's them. Now they did it very shoddily. I'm not happy with how they did it, but it's done. The damage is done, and what I told Rob was, we already know Suicide Squad is probably going to be amazing. Let's see what they do.
It already looks like a hit. And you know, how weird is it going to be if that movie gets better reviews and makes more money than the Trinity? Won't that just make people pull their hair out and be like, what do we do?
That might get Zack Snyder fired.
Well, no, I told people were like, well, which one do you think is going to do better? Like Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, or Civil War? And I was like, Civil War. 1, because Batman vs. Superman is going to flop. 2, because people are going to be more hyped about Civil War after the failure of Batman vs. Superman, and 3, because Suicide Squad is a totally different concept.
Yes,
so, like that's why I'm
most
really
people have
hyped
never
about that.
seen before.
No, I still stand by my statement. I have a feeling, like financially, Batman v Superman is still going to kill Civil War and everything else, simply because
Dude, have you kept up on the sales from like Friday through Sunday?
Yeah, it's
Spider-Man.
already at 500 million, and the last Captain America ended at 700.
Well, that was
and
solo.
It has the worst drop off in history between Friday to Sunday sales.
Any comic book movie.
It doesn't have very much farther to go. I mean, if what's it called? Civil War can break $1 billion and would go like insane numbers, maybe. But like, if it follows the Captain America trend, which I still stand by my argument. If they had renamed this movie Avengers Civil War or Marvel Civil War and focused on Captain America, I think it would have done better.
Which it basically is. I mean, they're sure to stress, hey, look at Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now, my concern would be for Civil War. I mean, like, I do hope that it does fantastically. Is that everyday moviegoers are going to be like, superheroes fighting again?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you know what I
Rob,
mean? Like,
you got to think the drop-off probably was bad, but we had Easter Sunday where a lot of people go to the movies, which is why it's probably picking back up its steam. Now the reviews are right. The reviews are still going to be up, but regardless of the reviews, everyone is still seeing it. Everyone. Joel just saw it yesterday, and he knows
it's true. I did. It's true. I just did. Now, my interesting question is, looking at the drop-off that we are, if a movie with the Trinity dropped off so hard, can they expect to see people support these solo movies that are just Wonder Woman and just Aquaman and just Cyborg in 2020?
And for the record, real quick, I just want to state, Joel, is his job to see the movie, so he was going to see it either way. I've got brothers who don't even follow comic books that went to go see it. Already, and they saw it after the fact. So the 30% Rotten Tomatoes, all that shit was out there.
Yeah. You know now I got to tell you though, I have coworkers who have the vaguest interest in comic book movies, and instead of seeing the movie, they waited till they saw me on Monday and asked me what I thought of the movie. Like, they held off because they were like, I don't know, because they did hear about the reviews and they weren't 100%. So I think you're going to run into both types of people who are like, I heard that was not good. Or I don't care if that's not good. I want to watch people punching each other.
They did have the event thing to be able to lean on where it's like, no, this is the first time Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman will ever be on screen in a movie together. But the problem with that is you can only do it once.
Yes. I mean, I'm not saying that Captain America can't beat it. I just still think in the end, financially, now I think we can all agree, regardless of what happens in Civil War, it's going to get better ratings, reviews, and overall people are going to like it more. I think
Sure
we can agree
seems
on
that way.
that.
Absolutely.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
because there's
financially, I
evil
have a feeling-
conspiracy out there against Warner Brothers and DC films, apparently, and all critics are involved in. It's an evil
I saw that
Illuminati
one.
conspiracy.
I mean, all I'm saying is financially, I think it's going to do. It's already doubled its money. It literally doubled its money with the supposed massive drop off. But we also had a holiday and a bunch of other things happen. It's already doubled its money. It literally
It's the
if it
seventh
can do $1
biggest.
billion, I mean, if you look at the last Iron Man, it did about $1 billion. So everyone now has Captain America: Winter Soldier, but it's still Captain America. Dude, I guarantee, dude, if that movie had said Marvel, Civil War, or Avengers, we'd be talking like $3-4 billion. It would probably be the biggest movie ever.
You know why I think it's going to be one of the biggest movies ever? Spider-Man.
Well, yeah.
Spider-Man returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's enough to set that movie over the edge.
Here's the fact that's big for the comic book fans. The non-comic book fans don't have any idea what the hell's going on.
No, they want to. No, people have watched enough comic book films, especially now, to know the difference between a Marvel Cinematic Universe produced movie and a movie not produced by the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And you want to know what proves
I think they do.
Deadpool.
What?
Deadpool, everyone is confused as being Marvel or not. People still don't know if it's got the Marvel logo on it. Everyone that's not in the know who just sees the movies, they currently just think it's got the Marvel logo. It's a Marvel movie, regardless of it being Deadpool, being Spider-Man, being whoever it is. So what I see from the non-Marvel, the non-super fans, the non-fans who watch these movies, the people who don't go and look for the Easter eggs, they just grab their popcorn and go see a movie. They're seeing this trailer of Spider-Man being like, "Oh, that's cool. They got that Andrew Garfield kid to come over." You know, and that's literally it. You know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see the financial success. I mean, we can all agree it's going to be a success, and it's going to be much higher rated than Batman v Superman.
I mean, the last superhero movie that bombed was Fantastic Four, and even just the most casual fans could see from the outset, oh, that's a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it really is going to be interesting because, and just to go back to what I've said in multiple podcasts now, Captain America does not do as well outside of America. Like, in the U.S., he does amazing, but that's what holds his franchise back, which is why I really, especially once they announced the 10th fucking superhero, why they weren't just like, Avengers Civil War!
Right. No, but I would be interested to see how this one does overseas, since it's going to be, another superhero fighting against Captain America. I'd like to know if like foreign audiences are interested in seeing
maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe that is the plan. Fight Captain America against a bunch of people so everyone actually watches it, even if you don't care about Captain America, and then you'll be interested in Captain America, and then Chris Evans leaves.
Interesting.
It's
the other thing that Batman v Superman has working for it is no other studio was brave enough to open up a movie against it. Its only competition is Divergent and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2.
Which is gonna be amazing. Yeah. For those guys, I didn't say that it flopped overseas. It just does 10 times better in the U.S. Captain America.
Yeah.
Its name is literally America.
Yeah. There's probably a little less interest overseas. Like
that would be like if they brought over what's the Russian guy with the star?
Oh well, Omega
the Russian
Red?
guy with the star.
There's a Russian superhero with a star. Let's just call him Captain Russia. Captain Russia aired over here in America.
Don't
it might
say
not
that.
do that well. Captain Russia.
Don't you mean Comrade Russia?
Comrade. Commandant
Russian superhero with a star. Dude, I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about now because that's going to drive me insane.
That's all I can think of.
Are you thinking like Soviet Sickle or something?
Comrade Russia. No.
That is me, your friend, Comrade Russia. I come to save you.
And he can hang out with Colossus and
I'm looking him up now. I'm
Black
trying to see who that is.
In Soviet Russia.
Red
there
Star.
You go. In Soviet Russia, people save you.
Benny said, "Who is that superhero, that Russian superhero with the red star on his chest?"
It is literally Red Star. Nice. Red Guardians, what some people are saying. So it's probably the same guy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Red Guardian. You want to know like the extent of Red Guardian's involvement? There was a Red Guardian in the 1980s. They made a new one. He died in one issue.
Oh.
Yeah. Red Guardian sucked.
Mother Russia. Now there was a hero of the ages.
I will say this: if the movie Batman vs Superman was good in terms of action sequences. I was entertained, but I wasn't going to just see two guys fight. I was kind of going to see the two guys fight, but I also wanted to see like some character development and to see a genuinely good story on why the two were fighting.
Can we also say the Batman v Superman fight? Well, cool. It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I really do
No,
wish
like
that it was. I really wish it was less based on The Dark Knight Returns, because for me, The Dark Knight Returns works because of the relationship, the long-standing relationship that Bruce and Clark have, and to try to do it in this case, it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel
And then they insultingly say at the end, but he was my friend and everything, and we're going to start the Justice League of Friends because of him. Like, you had maybe 2 interactions outside the costume with him, and at least one of them was a dick measuring contest, so don't tell me you were friends with him.
Yeah.
Real quick, just to follow up what you said about the biggest drop-off, Rob, did you actually do the research on this, or did you just hear that rumor? Because here's the actual situation. It broke the records for the largest Easter Sunday sale in movies. Then Monday was a 55% drop-off from Easter Sunday.
Yeah. The worst drop-off between Friday and Sunday.
No.
The worst drop-off over the weekends.
No, from Holiday. Everyone was off watching it. That's why it broke the records on Easter.
And it dropped by 55% over a day.
Right, but
in
it's
one
holiday
day.
to normal work day, is what I'm saying.
Mommy,
like,
Dad,
but
you
okay.
have a surge in sales on Easter, followed by a...
No.
Yeah, you
that
do. It's a holiday.
No.
So,
I know what you're saying, but the number you're looking at, yeah, I understand you're talking about Easter. I'm talking about from Friday through Sunday going into Monday. All three of those days combined is a 55% drop-off from the total money. Total money that was made.
It's a drop of 55% from Sunday gross.
No.
Only Sundays, what I'm reading right here from the reports.
So if you had
you're not
to pick
reading the
your
right one.
favorite moment from the movie, what do you guys think it would be? Joel?
I have to say, what is it? Any moment where Jesse Eisenberg torpedoes his career by giving one of the most tone-deaf, villainous performances of all time. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
When they shave his head and he looks like a little penis and he's sticking his head through the window, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, this will haunt you, dude. This will haunt your career from here on.
No, but seriously, what was a good positive moment in the movie that you liked?
That's actually a good point. You know what? I liked, as over the top as it got at times, I did like the Batman versus Superman fight. I did think it was cool.
It was okay.
I liked seeing Batman out there and being brutal, and I'm on board with a Batman that kills, because one thing that I've always not liked about the DC Universe is every superhero is like, we will not kill. Like, you have to have someone who will cross that line. And
actually,
they normally try to make it like some super anti-hero, like Punisher. I'm on board with seeing one of the Trinity being willing to kill if it needed.
It should have been Wonder Woman. It should have been, because she has a history of breaking Maxwell Lord's neck.
I have a feeling it's also Wonder Woman and Superman when he gets in a really big fight.
So the Justice League of Murderers is what you're telling me. I take it back. The coolest scene in the movie was unfortunately the scene that they spoiled in the trailer, and that is when Batman goes all Arkham Asylum on those thugs in the warehouse. That was pretty damn great.
That's what I mean. That was cool. And I did like the fight with Doomsday, though I don't like the new Doomsday origin. I thought that was kind of like, what? Rob?
And dropping 55% from its $82 million Friday debut to its $37 million gross on Sunday, it pummeled all prior records for weakness in theatrical staying power.
Okay, so my favorite part...
Here, I'll even post the article in the chat.
It doesn't matter. We all agree that it's not a good movie. So it doesn't. Even, I'm not even gonna fight this, because the point, like, it's not like I'm like, Rob, Batman v Superman was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. What is wrong with you? Here's the sales that I'm trying to defend. It doesn't matter. I still stand on my statement. Until we see Civil War sales and see it literally surpass, I think just because of the star power alone, everyone's gonna see it, and everyone's gonna complain about it, and that's that.
Can we say to the dumb reason why the fight stopped? Batman was ready to kill him, was seconds away from murdering another human being before. Your mommy's name was my mommy's name too. I don't want to kill you anymore for some reason.
All right, I want to comment on that, but I do want to say, but for me, it was all visuals were my favorite parts of the movie. Like, I thought it was really cool to see the parademons, but I think my favorite visual, and again, this is super spoilers too, which we've already spoiled, is when Superman is dead and you have Batman and Wonder Woman standing over him as Lois is holding him. I was like, that's a cool visual.
No, I like that. And
Like,
I
I thought
the
that
follow up where Batman's now the Nick Fury of that universe, basically.
right?
Yeah, where he's kind of bringing them together. That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah,
You know,
I
where
like
he's
the idea
bringing them
that it'd be
together.
Batman.
Even
and
though
I like the
as-
idea that the death of Superman is what drives them to go do this.
Even though, is that not a slap in the face of Batman, who's always been, no, I'm not going to join your Super Friends Club. I'm a loner. I'm an outsider.
Okay,
To this,
well,
I'm going to
they
start
gotta
this.
change things up. I mean, he kills in this one. Why doesn't he want to be friends?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. In a movie where Superman, Batman kill, and Flash has a man bun, why should this adhere to any rules of anything ever?
No, exactly.
I mean, I would have said that the introduction of the Flash through the news footage or through the closed circuit television was really cool.
With the man
I didn't have any problems with the man bun. I didn't have any problems with the introduction of Aquaman. Those introductions there, I thought were great ways to segue the characters in.
Yeah.
I personally would not have included Wonder Woman in this movie. I personally would not have included the dream sequences, and I would not have featured Barry Allen in this movie aside from the cameo. I would have literally just made it a movie that focused on why Batman and Superman are fighting one another, leading up to a battle between the two. That said, if anybody ever went back and watched The Dark Knight Returns or read The Dark Knight Returns, literally the last 1/5 of the comic deals with Batman fighting Superman. So it's not until the very end of the story that actually happens. It's not like the whole comic is the two of them battling. So,
But
yeah.
and what makes it so successful though is that you have all that lead up. Throughout The Dark Knight Returns, like they're talking about how like the history they've had and like how Clark has changed and how Bruce has changed. You know what I mean? Like, so like I totally get where you're coming from. Where like leading up to that fight, like having all that movie beforehand was kind of in a sense an homage to that. But an homage ain't enough.
It's like, how do you take a story where it's the last adventure they have, where they're old, broken down old men forced to fight by circumstances out of their control, and make that their first meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my personal opinion, I've always kind of felt like Zack Snyder was like a poor man's Michael Bay. And that's what it seemed like. It seemed like DC. But Zack Snyder, if you hear this, you are a poor man's Michael Bay.
Here's the thing. He's a visual
that's
director. I'm sure he likes comic book panels. I just don't think he ever had reading comprehension hammered into him.
Okay, see, here's the thing. Is people say, well, man, The Watchmen was so good. The Watchmen was good because it fit with Zack Snyder's style of directing.
Yes.
That's why it was so good. Like, it meshed. The problem is when you take him out of that style, it comes out to be a nightmare.
He was also he was doing one book. He had one source.
Shot for shot, basically.
Yeah.
Like when you do a movie like this, you have to pull from so many sources. You have to make decisions, and you have to have the ability and the mindset to do that.
Now, I will say, I do agree with you on that one, Rob. I do like that. And I think they should have pulled Wonder Woman out of the main sequence. And I think they should have pulled out the Flash extra scene. And I think what we should have got was more folders. Because one thing someone told me was, didn't the DC Universe feel a bit empty to you? I think it might have been you, Rob, because there was only 4 folders there, and Civil War does have like 15 superheroes in it.
But they've also had years worth to build up all those.
But why couldn't you have had all the folders for all your known superheroes, even if you never go into them X-Men style, and click 2 or 3 more? I mean, why couldn't
here's a really good example. There was a scene from one of the original X-Men films. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was X-Men 2. But they were going through looking at information, looking at folders.
All those
there was a folder
names
for all those names. There was a folder for Franklin Richards just sitting there. They never looked into it, never did anything with it. It was just a name that popped up. And you're still like, okay, this universe has all kinds of heroes. We're not going to learn about them all, but they're there, they exist, and people know about them. That's what I kind of like, especially from Lex Luthor, who had done so much research. So you're telling me right now, in this day and age, there are only like 6 heroes or 6 people with powers in the world? Please. Especially
because our heroes are scattered through the multimedia multiverse.
Well, it's not even that. That's kind of a thing they've always done with the Justice League. The Justice League is always the first to appear. They are.
Yeah.
They're always the first to be found and appear and team up. That's like the lore of DC since like the 40s.
That's true. That is a good point.
It could also be like a weird loophole where they can allow for Batman Bruce Wayne to become a great detective by finding everyone else.
Yeah. And for the record, I did say that I would have removed Wonder Woman from the movie, but she was amazing. I thought Gal Gadot...
She was.
No, she was.
I agree
Gal
with you
Gadot was really good.
because I don't think it was fair because she felt tacked on. Like,
it's
having that character is fantastic, and Gal Gadot did a great job.
I'm excited about the movie. Wonder Woman the movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
It should be good.
Put her in that capacity just feels like she's an afterthought, and she doesn't deserve to feel like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned
really
the 40s.
Observation and an afterthought. That's a really good way to look at it.
I'm glad you mentioned the 40s, Benny, because the line that really boiled my craw was the bit with Perry White when he's chewing out Clark Kent. He's like, "Damn it, Kent, this isn't 1938 anymore." I'm like, oh, the first act, really? The first
I
really?
Caught that Easter egg, yeah.
I'm just like,
it's funny because
but then he says it with such anger, where he's like, "Way to crap on 75 years, dude. It's not 1938 anymore." Come on.
I mean,
You can't just leap buildings in a single bound anymore, Clark. Get it together.
I mean, overall, I didn't hate the movie. The whole movie, I definitely had a feel of this was Man of Steel 2. Someone at DC or Warner Brothers said, "Why don't we put Batman in to reintroduce him to the universe?" Then someone else said, "Why don't we like expand upon his role and really explain Bruce Wayne?" And then somebody else said, "Well, why don't we throw in the entire Justice League as cameos? Oh, and we can have Wonder Woman in the final fight." I feel like there was a movie that I would have like come out of the theaters like, I loved it. This was
There's
amazing.
like 3 movies in here.
Exactly. There's 3 movies crammed into this, and that's what I dislike about it. It's not horrendous, but it's definitely not something that I'll ever go to anyone and be like, you have to see Batman v Superman.
Man of Steel
said,
bugged
I
me
have a
more
feeling-
because I had higher expectations. This one, I'm like, okay, it's a continuation of this universe. It's not going to be like I see it on the
My expectations
page.
were dashed when they started announcing superheroes. Because DC has not built up towards showing us they can handle multiple superheroes in a movie. That being said, I'm excited about Civil War just because I have a feeling Marvel does know how to handle multiple superheroes in a movie,
true.
and we're going to get it properly.
They've had the opportunity to prove that to us on several
Multiple
occasions.
times.
Avengers 2. And...
Exactly. Guardians, I mean, like, they've done it and they know how to do it. And I feel like the better team movie for them to lead with was Suicide Squad, because you're not managing a lot of big name superheroes. You have, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about equal screen time. You don't have to worry about, you know, does this story fit the agenda for Superman or Batman? You know what I mean? Like, and the fact is, like, this movie, like you said, Ben, it definitely did feel like Man of Steel 2. I put a colon after that, The Death of Superman, with his amazing friends Batman and Wonder Woman.
You know what? That's an
think
amazing
this
title.
I think this movie could have been a lot better if they didn't worry about the cameos, they didn't worry about the world building. They just literally did mostly Man of Steel 2, peppered in Batman. You could have even had the fight still. It could have easily worked. But if you just like glimpsed at stuff about Batman, and then we have the Batman movie to really set him up properly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
I feel like
so here, like...
Oh, go ahead, Rob. You haven't talked in a while.
I would say that even with the scenes being what they were bad in the sense that they were just all over the place.
Yeah.
Like they were just suddenly it was like, wow, you know, Superman is like helping to save people, and you know, suddenly
while
Batman's
looking
good.
pained like he doesn't want to. That's my favorite thing. The one montage we have of Superman doing traditional Superman things, and he's like, "Oh God, you people are such a burden on me."
I always say that in my own review, which
wasn't-
is going up as soon as we finish here. My review, I say like that was my biggest problem with Superman. He doesn't smile. I don't think he smiles once in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole time
I think he
he's
smiles
doesn't.
when Lois is naked.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wouldn't
I think he
smile?
smiled.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
banging her in a bathtub. Like, okay,
I'm pretty
like,
sure
that
I'm
was
gonna be
my
like, I'm not
question.
gonna
Was like,
smile. Lois is naked. What?
maybe
Why?
maybe that was like maybe it was just me, but I was like, why are we watching Superman getting it on with Lois Lane fully clothed in a bathtub? What's the point of this?
Speaking
Like,
of Lois
why
Lane,
am I
she has
watching
way
this?
more to
Because
do here
they
than
think
she
you're trying
does
to
in Man
warm
of
him
Steel.
up to you.
Like she has more to do in this movie than
I
she did
guess.
in Man of Steel. She has to clear Superman's name for the terrorist attack in Africa because Superman can't be bothered to clear his own name.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the issues that we have of it feeling all over the place stems from really, I'm sure the producers and like the production company itself being like, we're hearing fan reactions, we're hearing news from about other movies, and then making changes as they go instead of just sticking to the plan.
Clearly they added stuff in because remember, this was supposed to come out next to Ant-Man, but they pushed it back a considerable amount of time.
Yeah. And I feel like definitely based on the Man of Steel like reaction from some fans, you know, having an issue with you know, that final fight scene in the city, the fact that 3 to 4 times they mention that the area is abandoned or it's like not work time anymore and nobody's around. I was like, this is so over the head that like you're like being like, see, everybody be quiet because
they look right into the camera basically and say it.
But you know what? They needed to. Because the biggest fan backlash was, why would Superman let that happen?
I totally understand, but I don't know if they needed to do it 3 to 4 times. Like, that was just so over the top. Like, I got it the first time. I was like, all right, nice, guys, cool. And then 3 or 4 times later, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, we get it.
Now
cool.
you're just getting salty.
Yeah, like, but again, I think that's that example of, like, they made a lot of choices based on the fan base. And based on like the reactions they were getting and hearing about.
But you can't make choices. But if everybody made decisions on what they would do based on fan reception, nothing would ever get done.
Oh, of course.
In all honesty, I don't mean this as a stab at Rob. Like even my channel, like if you made entirely based upon the reactions, like Rob would still be doing hour-long videos once a week, and I would be doing nothing but and none of Batman, according to my fan base.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I don't think that it's a good call. And I think if that is the case, we see clearly here that it's not the right call. But I'm afraid that while they're going to look at this and be like, we made our money back, yay, this is a success, what they're going to take away from it is the wrong lesson. They're going to take away that, like, we can't make a comic booky movie because people didn't like that. Not
we need more Batman.
Stick to a script and not keep changing or adding to it without having someone competent come in and do so.
Also, here's the thing, too. Yeah, the movie made money, but I bet, like, next week the bigwigs and the Money Man and all those guys are like, yeah, Zach, you made a lot of money. You didn't make Avengers money, did you? You told us you would make Avengers money. Where is our Avengers money, Zach?
Where's my money at?
I'm actually looking at
Warner
some of the
Brothers. Where's my money at?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 made as much money as The Winter Soldier.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that one got dethroned by Neighbors in its second week, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Here, you know what? I'm going to put this image in... somebody made like one of those. Somebody made one of those missing things, and it's like missing plot. If found, please contact Zack Snyder or Kevin.
And you know, if we can talk about Zack Snyder too, if I just had one last parting thought to say on him, I do not doubt you are a fan, Zack Snyder. But here's the thing: you made a movie for yourself and no one else. You're like, man, I love Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman. I want to put this all over my movie, even if it doesn't make any sense. And in your defense, if they gave me a bunch of money and said, Joel, go make a comic book movie, it would all be about the Secret Six and all these D-list villains I love, and they'd all be front and center. So I might make it too. Maybe you're literally too close to this material.
Yeah, I think they probably needed some stronger editing, stronger producers to come in there and wrangle this whole thing. And I think that could have really helped in the end. Like, even a better cut of this movie could really help in the end. Like, and again, I know we mentioned that the 3-hour, Blu-ray is going to come out, and who knows what that's going to be. But I know inevitably we're going to see fan cuts of this movie, and a lot of times you see the fans turn it into something where it's like, that makes a lot more sense.
Like
that's
Highlander.
a lot stronger.
Yeah.
I told you, like I said, I really feel like it was almost a requirement for the amount of screen time Ben Affleck needed, so they brought in a YouTube editor to be like, all right, quick cuts, just go back and forth, just see how that's gonna work.
Right?
Yeah.
It's true. You could literally move the scenes around in this movie, and it would make very little difference what order you put them in.
Rob and I were talking, right after we saw it, I was like, what? They should have just put 20 minutes of Batman in between a Superman segment and then like the 20-minute Superman segment, and then
yeah, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Well, you could have literally just started it off with Batman, because the scenes they did with Batman weren't bad. I like the dramatic feel of it.
That's where the passion was. It's clear Snyder wanted to make a Batman movie, not a Superman movie.
And the issue was it was Batman's parents die, and then Superman rescuing people, then suddenly Batman, and then Superman, and then suddenly Batman, and it was just so disheveled and so just spread everywhere. And nonsense.
Superman saving people and Batman working out with CrossFit.
Oh my God! You know what? Can we talk about that mod? Okay.
No, hold on. The best part about this, I've got to go fight Superman. So let's go, do a bunch of crazy workouts, because that'll make it okay.
Batman's doing CrossFit. Hey, Batman, you're literally going to go fight a guy whose body is so indestructible that bullets, tanks, nuclear weapons have no effect on him. But by God, if you do enough of those hammer slams on those tires, you are clearly going to be able to topple Superman. CrossFit is the way to go.
Maybe he's just mad at that tire, okay? Maybe it had nothing to do with working out.
That was the tire from the car of Joe Chill who killed his parents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, did anyone else notice this about Joe Chill? Joe Chill, who's always been shown as a white guy, was he of a darker skin complexion in this movie now than the other ones? He looked like a brown man for the few seconds.
Are you being racist, Joel? Are you being racist? Joe Chill can't be of a different complexion?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, when you change the race of a villain, it's being a little odd where I'm like, what are you trying to say here, movie, in the year 2016? What are you trying to tell me?
I didn't even notice anything like that, because I was so hooked up on the fact that the pearls got caught on the gun. I don't know why, that really bothered me.
That was a cool scene.
Because it's a cool image when it flies everywhere.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool scene, but I will say this, I think what Zack Snyder was shooting for... I think that what Zack Snyder was shooting for was basically tell us that in the world of the DC universe, that only minorities commit crimes.
And on that note, guys, thanks for watching the No, we're not going to sign up on
Hey,
it.
Batman. Hey, Batman Big Fig. What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was wicked awesome. I liked it when he drove the back car places.
Man.
Can I just say that's amazing that a fan sent you that?
I know, right? They wanted to remain anonymous too. So thank you, anonymous fan, wherever you are. This is going to be part of my set forever now.
Well, I'm pretty sure at this point we've kind of now we're just really nitpicking little things. I think we all agree that it wasn't horrendous, but it wasn't great.
Oh.
Rob and I have a nice debate going over what's going to perform better, and I'm not even like denying Civil War has a chance at it. I'm just saying I think Batman and Superman will. I think it will pull in more financially. That's what I think.
At the end of the day, we'll find out what happens.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, there will be definitive numbers coming in that will tell us who. Oh hey Sal, what'd you think of the movie?
Hey guys.
Hi, clean Sal. What did you think of the movie?
Alright.
Solid.
So, I mean, I think overall we all kind of agree on that. There's some cool scenes, there's some bad scenes. Anybody who asks me about it, I say, look, if you got some time and you want to go catch a movie and eat some popcorn, go catch it. But you're not going to miss anything if you wait till the Blu-ray comes out. That's just definitively it. My answer on the whole thing. It's there for you. Anybody want to have some parting thoughts? Any more messages to Zack Snyder?
No, I think we're good. I think I said everything I need to say.
Yeah.
As you walk down that road of life, hitchhike it's faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't know what that means, but I agree.
The movie itself, like, it'll prove, like, in the future will prove to us whether or not it was damaging to anything. I don't think it's to be damaging to the comic books or the characters. I think it'll only serve to change the way that Warner Brothers and DC makes their superhero movies, but they will see a financial gain from this, which means that they will continue to do so. But I think that some things are definitely going to change because of this.
It's already starting to change. James Wan came out and said, no, I promise Aquaman will have a totally different tone. No, I promise Aquaman will be fun. Please come see Aquaman.
Right.
Yeah. Did he really?
Oh God. Yeah, you didn't see. He took to Twitter right away, and he's like, no, please.
Now, I know Affleck wasn't part of his contract that he wanted to direct.
Yeah.
How do you think that him coming out of this is going to change?
I feel like he took the role of Batman just so he can make his own Batman.
Oh no, absolutely. But
that's entirely what Sad Affleck is. Like, I don't even want to be in this.
Right, exactly. But I wonder how his perception of the fan base and of the character that he's portraying and going to be directing is like. I'm wondering how that's going to change his decisions in the film.
You know what's great about Sad Affleck? You can totally tell he's having like Vietnam flashbacks to Daredevil. No, it's happening again. Zach, you told me this wouldn't happen.
Okay, that's something we haven't touched on. I think Ben Affleck did an amazing Batman.
He's the most well-rounded Batman, murder aside.
Yeah, no murder.
Yeah,
I'm on board with the murdering Batman. Whatever.
Well, then he's Azrael. Then he's not Batman.
Okay, I like Azrael.
That's true. Wouldn't that be a twist if they came out and said it was actually Jean-Paul Valley pretending to be Bruce Wayne?
God.
Then he pulls out a flaming sword. I am the angel of death.
It'd be a great way to retcon this terrible movie.
Duo of Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons in this versus Henry Cavill and Adams. But that was just me. I was like so on board for seeing them.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have good chemistry.
I liked Alfred.
They did.
I didn't think Alfred was as bad as people thought he was. I enjoyed Jeremy.
I love the way he portrayed Alfred. My only complaint about Alfred is he doesn't feel old enough to be like he feels like he was like Bruce Wayne's buddy in high school, and he just got out 4 years ahead of Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Yeah. I can see
Like, he
that.
doesn't
Plus,
look
it looked like
really
he didn't
old and
age at all.
decrepit. He looks like if he worked out on that CrossFit workout, he could wear a suit.
Well, he's basically Earth 2, but Alfred.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott. Which is fine with me.
Yeah.
I
I'm
want
not
Alfred
against
for,
it.
if they storm the Batcave, Alfred's like, oh no.
And then he gets his elephant gun.
Yeah, and blows their heads off.
Plus, it's going to be hard to top Michael Caine for a bit. I think Michael Caine's going to remain to be definitive Alfred for a bit now. He was really good.
I don't care about Michael Caine.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of the older Alfred. The one who had a cool history, but he's a little older now. He can't.
Yeah.
I feel like this one could have just gone out and fought with him. That's my.
I just want to see Alfred headbutt the hell out of Superman.
So
That's what I
basically,
wanna see.
Rob is like, I want the Injustice movie. God damn it!
Yeah, I want to see a headbutt of Doom. Just absolutely, just bring the pain. That was one of the most spectacular headbutts in the history of comic books.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Dude, here's the quote. But my name is Alfred Pennyworth. I do the laundry, I wash the windows, and I take out the trash, motherfucker.
Boom! Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, I think on that note, guys, I think we can wrap up here. For those of you guys who have joined us a little bit late or who don't know who we are, I am Benny the Comic Historian. That is Sal and Tiffany from ComicPOP. You can find them on youtube.com/TV Little House. That is Joel from Cape Joel, youtube.com/Cape Joel. That is Rob from Comics Explained, youtube.com/Fluidic Beats. And you can find me.
Man, I wish I could
youtube.com.
go back and like change that URL. Like I think about that every day. Like
a lot of clout.
really.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that much
You
clout.
do get to a size where you can do that. But anyway, you can
I
find
know
me
one guy
on
who
Load it up.
youtube.com/ComicStorian. That's the end of this discussion. Normally I play games after this, but I don't know if I am today.
Dude,
You
this is
look like you're
I
waiting
mean,
for something to attack you. Like you heard something,
No,
you're
because
like,
I'm waiting for my wife to signal if we're playing or going out for food. So let's all hang out. Now she's
Well, I
giving
thought
me
you
a
were wanting
sign
to-
like I should know.
she's like Kato, and you're like, you know.
I thought you were wanting to
She's
play
looking at me
Division. Like I thought you wanted
you
to max
should know
out
the.
Division.
She's literally like, what the hell? Like.
Because Benny
Oh
and his
yeah,
wife
what
need
the
to go
hell,
and fight
Benny?
crime.
Come on. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm going
I'm-
to chat with you guys, so she walks over here and either sets up the camera or we take it down.
Video games,
I mean-
be dinner.
All right, no, for the
I'm gonna
audio
play some
version of this podcast, guys, I will see you later. Don't forget to check out the podcast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where you can chat with us live. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, and video on demand on Twitch. We appreciate all your support through Twitch subscribers and followers. I couldn't talk. And you will be able to find this podcast and our DC Rebirth podcast, both uploaded to the Comic TV channel and maybe Comic Pop. I don't know what we decided.
We're working on it.
Yep.
Daniel
but-
says she can do it.
but that is all the locations you can find us for the audio version. Audio version is now shut off.